All right. Of course, we missed Ian Castleberry in the 3 o'clock hour, but Ian's such a pro. He is back with us now for our NFL Gold Nuggets. Ian, how you doing, friend?
I'm doing well. Sorry about earlier.
Not at all. You have a life, and it doesn't have to include the wise guys. We're always lucky to have you with us, and we've got a few things to get to on the docket. First things, Adrian Peterson, AP, recently let go by Tennessee. But wait, he's now signed with the Seahawks. He's certainly run his course this season, and really as a career, he's going to retire as an all-time great. The question is, when does he retire? He's tried to make these comebacks, but they've just been short-lived with these teams. But nonetheless, Ian, why did the Hawks grab Adrian Peterson?
Well, I think Pete Carroll, he needs another body in there. He's signed to the practice squad, so this isn't official yet. Like, Pete Carroll and the coaches will take a look at Adrian Peterson, determine if he can bring anything to the team. I mean, the Seahawks' playoff chances, they pretty much washed out last week after losing to the Washington football team. But I think that Pete Carroll and the Seahawks are thinking maybe they can get a little more production out of the running back spot. You know, they lost Chris Carson for the season. Alex Collins has been in there, not too productive in recent weeks. Rashad Penny coming back from injury. Travis Homer also coming back from injury. So I think Peterson, he's still in great shape. He's still productive. Last season with the Lions, he rushed for 600 yards, averaged nearly 4 yards a carry. He wasn't the starting running back later in the season, but I think he's still in great shape. He's durable, other than the really serious injury he suffered earlier in his career. He's not a guy that gets dinged up. Somebody who they can put in there 15 seasons in the NFL. And I think that's why the choice was to sign Adrian Peterson over some of the other free agents who might be out there. Remember, the Tennessee Titans also signed Adrian Peterson earlier this season after losing Derrick Henry.
And then he was with the Redskins, or rather the football team, I think, before that, Mike Gore.
Yeah, I think he was with the Redskins when they were the Redskins, and then he was with the football team
Jeez, it's trying to tough keeping up with him. Speaking of running backs, Ian Castleberry, Christian McCaffrey out again, done for the season. He's missed 23 of the last 33 games the Panthers have played since he signed that $60 million contract. And it's raising the question, are running backs getting paid too much? Do you think teams may scale back on that because star running backs are a little easier to replace than star quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think you're going to look at teams leaning away from the long-term deals. I don't think they're necessarily getting paid too much in terms of season to season, but 4-year deal like Christian McCaffrey got. At the time, that looked like a good bet. McCaffrey hadn't missed a single game before that, but since signing that deal, he has not been on the field. He's missed a lot of games. So I think there are some running backs who maybe are worth the risk. Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, but all those guys have been injured too. So I think by and large, it's not worth the investment for a team to sink that much money into one running back, as spectacular as they may be. The track record at that position just doesn't speak well of it. So I think you're going to see more teams go back to a running back by committee, and if you do have somebody who really stands out, like a Derrick Henry, you give him the majority of the workload. But in terms of a financial commitment, no, I don't think we're going to be seeing 4 or 5 year deals for running backs anymore.
You think that's where that's headed, Mike Gore?
Oh, it has to be. It has to be. I think the record speaks for itself. Yeah, you just can't. You got to have a great quarterback. That's the key right now in the NFL. You've got to have a great quarterback, and running back is nice, but you've got to have a quarterback.
Yeah, and thank God
Can I also say real quick too, if you are going to invest in a running back, maybe don't just completely wear him out like the Panthers probably did with Christian McCaffrey in 2018, 2019. He had 250 carries, over 100 catches. Spectacular production, 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. But I think it's pretty clear that workload caught up with McCaffrey here.
Yeah, they rode him a little too hard. I mean, hindsight being 20/20 at this point. As we're joined by Ian Castleberry, our NFL go-to guy, and Ian also writes for national sports and pop culture websites Awful Announcing and thecomeback.com. You can like both on Facebook as well. And, of course, we're lucky to get Ian talking football Thursdays when we're here on the show. And, Ian, I'm not sure. I debated whether to roll my new age music bed just to kind of settle things down a little bit, but I think you're ready to handle this next question. Why has it not worked out with Jared Goff and your Lions?
Because Jared Goff refuses to throw the ball down the field. for anybody who actually did endure watching that Thanksgiving game against the Bears, it's notable that the 2 touchdowns the Lions scored happened when Goff did throw the ball down the field. But other than that, he's been captain checkdown. Now, in his defense, the Lions don't have any quality wide receivers. I mean, the names I'm going to mention here, Khalif Raymond, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kaderil Hodge, Josh Reynolds. I mean, everyone's listening, scratching their head.
The hosts are.
Yeah. And then 2 of the top receivers that they were expected to have, Tyrell Williams, he suffered a concussion in week 1 and was placed on injured reserve. Quintez Cephas broke his collarbone. He's out for the season. Again, 2 names that aren't really that familiar. And it's going to get even worse because DeAndre Swift, the Lions running back and one of Goff's favorite targets, he's going to be out multiple weeks with a shoulder injury. So really, you're just left with TJ Hawkinson as the only reliable target. And other teams are going to know that. They're going to double him, maybe triple team him. But Goff, I think his decision-making and his refusal to throw the ball down the field has really been a problem for the Detroit Lions. I think, obviously, they have not won a game yet. If they were getting quality quarterback play, I think it's fair to say they would have won maybe 3-4 games by now.
That's tough. I mean, I'm looking across the studio at Mike, and you're like, yeah, we got Josh Allen. What was that?
Well, but the Bills spent 17 years in the wilderness, as far as going for a quarterback. It goes back to what I just said. You got to have a quarterback. You just have to. And it took the Bills, almost over 20 years to find the replacement to Jim Kelly. And like Ian's list of the Detroit wide receivers right now, I can give you a list of Buffalo quarterbacks. Who? What? Oh, really? Did he play for them?
I thought Nate Peterson had a real future in this.
Peterman, yes.
See, that's my point.
Stop it.
That guy too.
Stop it.
As Ian Castleberry joins the Wise Guys NFL Gold Nuggets feature presented by DC Creasman Jewelers. Ian, Week 13 storylines. Anything else you want to pass along?
Well, we got to talk about Monday Night Football's matchup, right? Mike's there in the studio. Patriots and Bills, first place in the AFC East on the line. Mike, what do you think about that matchup?
Should be a great game. At least I hope it is. But the key, I think, will be Buffalo's offensive line. Can they protect Josh Allen? They've had some problems with that. And obviously the Bills cannot get behind in that game because with the Patriots' good defense, the Bills don't need to be throwing it every time they have the ball. They've got to have a great game from their offensive line. If they can do that, if they ran the ball good against the Saints, and I know the Saints were crippled and everything, but I think the key is their offensive line has to play well and better than it has been as of late. They got to give Josh time to throw the football, and they've got to establish running game. If they can do those 2 things, then I think the Bills have a pretty good chance.
Well, how do you like?
Yeah, I like their chances at home as well.
Yes, that place is going to be rocking on Monday night. That place is going to be rocking.
No doubt. All right, Ian, continue. If there's any other storylines to pass along.
Los Angeles Rams, they've lost 3 straight. Is Matthew Stafford injured? We hear that he's dinged up, shoulder, back, knee, but they do play the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, so
be wary.
Yeah, as Mike and the Bills know all too well, the Jaguars, they can sneak up and bite you there. But yeah, if the Rams lose this game and they lose 3 straight, I mean, they've already looked like they've had problems. I think they've gotten away from the running game too much. I know they have a very talented quarterback in Stafford, and they added Odell Beckham Jr., but I think when the Rams have been at their most successful, it's because they've run the ball well.
It isn't interesting that since they picked up Von Miller, they're 0-3. Since they picked up Odell, they're 0-2. And I think, and I've listened to this on some other shows too, and get your Ian, losing Robert Woods for the season was a devastating blow for this Rams team. That is a very good, one of the best wide receivers in the
steady, yeah.
That people don't know about. Does a lot. He blocks well. I wish Buffalo still had him, to be honest with you. Don't you? That has really hurt them more than I think people realized.
I do agree. I mean, he's their most reliable deep threat. I know Matthew Stafford loves to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp, but yeah, Robert Woods is their most reliable deep threat. They did sign OBJ, but he's still working himself into the system. We don't really know what he has in the tank. It seems like he hasn't played in so long. But yeah, I agree. Robert Woods' injury has been a big loss for the Rams.
At least had a nice touchdown with OBJ against the Packers on Sunday. We'll see on that. But yeah, Robert Woods, when he went down, I was like, oh man,
that was not good for them.
He is solid. He's dependable. He is a talented dude, and we're seeing the impact, or the Rams are seeing the impact of that. Ian, a couple of picks before we let you go tonight. Thursday Night Football, Cowboys at Saints. Who do you like?
This is a must-win for the Cowboys and the Saints. Are they going to start Taysom Hill? I know to the listeners, both Pat and Mike are happily married, but for the listeners out there who may not be with a special somebody, may you find somebody who loves you the way Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill, and see how he plays tonight against the Cowboys.
Oh, my goodness. Is it well enough to beat the Cowboys?
It is not.
Okay.
The Saints have lost, I believe, 4 in a row. Again, this is an important game for the Cowboys to win. We'll see what Taysom Hill can provide, but I'm not optimistic. I think the Cowboys win tonight.
All right, gotcha on that. As Ian Castleberry plays with the Wise Guys, NFL Gold Nuggets feature presented by DC Creasman Jewelers. And Ian, we'll go to a little college football because you're a big Michigan fan. Hey, man, I'm really happy for you guys. I know I bang on you and Blades over the years with Harbaugh and all of that, but this has been a coming out year, and maybe it's never too late, but here it is, Big Ten championship, Wolverines win. They're guaranteed a playoff spot. It's Iowa and Michigan. Who do you like Saturday night?
Well, my inner Michigan fan is worried that they'll have a letdown against Iowa after the big game against Ohio State, but I think there's too much at stake. This is a different team. If this game was in Iowa City at Kinnick Stadium, I would be much more concerned, and fans right on top of the action there. But since it's a neutral site in Indianapolis, I do like Michigan to on top of the Hawkeyes and make it to the playoff. And like I alluded to on Monday, I'm very eager to see if Michigan makes the playoff, how far they can go.
Yeah, man.
And I think an advantage for Michigan in this game is that if Wisconsin had won and Michigan's playing Wisconsin, Michigan might have been, especially after that great one of Ohio State, that they pounded Wisconsin earlier this year. It's Wisconsin. We beat them at their home stadium. We're fine. Where Iowa, that they didn't play Iowa presents a different challenge. I think Iowa's one of the most overrated teams in the country, and so surely Michigan will not let that great win, because boy, if they somehow lost to Iowa, that would not be good for Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines.
And didn't Iowa sniff the top 5 during the season?
I think they were 2 at one point, but they had a fluky win against Penn State. They were down at home to Penn State when Penn State's quarterback went out. Then Purdue went in there and kicked their butt all over the place. This may be the worst 10-2 team in the country.
And there you have it. That's the way to wrap up the segment. Ian Castleberry, great to hear your voice. Great to have you with us. Man, we'll catch up. But hey, man, we always appreciate you. You're fabulous, and have a great rest of the week, my friend. Good luck to your Wolverines.
Okay, thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Will do. Thanks, Ian. That's one of the more talented guys out there. Great writer himself, Ian Castleberry, with the Wise Guys, presented by David Creasman and DC Creasman Jewelers.